Cyber back in day, and well, it's about that time again as we close the book on the EX9 format and we count down towards the release of BT22 Cyber Eden. And well, starting off our countdown this time will be the good old faithful Puppet deck with the support, with the upgrade they got from the support from EX9. Which definitely helped, in all honesty, helped in its tempo, as well as strengthening, the strength it already has to begin with. And let's not forget, it also is bound to get even further upgraded come BT22 with the new Liberator stuff connected to that. And well, before we crack into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this around to help with the algorithm. And well, let's crack into it. Starting off with the egg deck, and it goes without saying, I still run the old faithful Structure Deck 19 Kaguyamon as the egg for this deck, since it's pretty much your go-to draw engine, since it's a pretty easily fulfilled condition once you start climbing up. Since with each swing, you get to draw one every time you swing, once per turn every time you swing, with that condition easily being fulfilled by your tokens that you spawn out. And well, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, since you do want to see your pieces as you climb a stack. That's it for the egg deck. Now on to the rookie lineup. And well, for the most part, it's slightly adjusted for the new stuff, with the core still being full playsets of EX7 and Structure Deck 19 Chu for the reduced evil cost, and then searching respectively, and both pretty much giving you a buffer against security Digimon when you swing into security as inherits, and then running 2 copies of the promo shoe for its utility, since it's on play. It's opposing Digimon with Sec -1 to help soften blows, as well as granting inheritable that helps weaken the opponent. And for the new sauce with the deck, 2 copies of Hanimon from EX9, with Hanimon being able to on play, pitch away puppet from hand, pitch away any card from hand, to then recycle a puppet from trash, which can help you recur pieces that end up in trash, as well as having the useful inheritable to delete one of your other Digimon to end in opposing attack. Which, when you think about it in the Magna X lineup, it pretty much just prevents Magna X from being able to start doing shenanigans if it isn't protected by its own, if it hasn't gained its protection effect. And aside from that, especially because a run promo shoe, obviously some other tech picks to go for a budget still be good old Jump as a decoy body and barrier inherit, and then either Structure Deck Conchessmons for more resource for more draw, with Conchessmon White being able to grant reboot to stack. Though with BT22 we also get a new Shoemon, which ends up being more so a defensive deck, as it's on play, allows it to grant blocker to any of your other Digimon on board. And as well as being able to reduce imposing Digimon for the inherit. That's it for the rookie lineup. Now on to level 4s. It pretty much is slightly adjusted as well. Still running the 4 copies of the second promo Shushu as the main champion of the deck. 3 copies of EX9 Shushu to be able to cheat out Ursas. And to end off Riku lineup and continuing up the Hanimon line is 2 copies of Kokeshimon. Both Shushus go without saying, with second promo Shushu definitely being the front runner and main powerhouse of the deck, given that you are able to spawn out a token that destroys itself at the end of the opponent's turn. So regardless, you still get the effect, as well as being a security effect that allows it to play itself out, and also being able to spawn out, thus triggering its on play to spawn out a token. And then, second promo Shushu granting barrier, which is, a use, depending on use case scenario. And then, EX9 Shushu inherent to also add another 3000 EP buffer. And Kokeshi here being new blood, being able to, hit more DP reduction thresholds at the cost of you trashing away a card, as well as also having Hanimon's inheritable to end a opposing attack by destroying one of your own other Digimon. And then following that up, we are also seeing a new Shushu coming in BT22. Though for this one, I'd say it's still definitely not really going to see use, especially with the powerless lineup that is the second promo Shushu, especially now with new support. And speaking of that, we now go on to where the front runner of the deck becomes real apparent as we go into level 5s. Starting us off, and I'm going for 3 copies of EX9 Chaparral, for it being the earliest overclock value that we have, as well as being able to go wide by spitting out another level 3 from hand, and starts off with Protect Inheritable, and then for the main front stage and center over level 5s, and definitive core level 5 for puppets, is the new Kaguyamon from the Hanimon line. Since Karakuru has the neat effect on play 1 Digivolve to delete one of your tokens or other puppetry Digimon to allow herself to Digivolve into a puppet for free, thus comboing pretty well with the disposable token the second promo Shushu spits out, as you immediately get to go into, pretty much tempo up into either level 6s for free, and as usual, also has the same protection that Shapiro grants. Then as for other level 5s, we're also continuing with new Shulumon line, as you get a new BT22 Shapiro with the neat effect to, be able to pretty much warp a shoe into itself by, taking a Shushu from trash and placing it as bomb source and pretty much evoing it as normal. And then that's it for level 5s. Now on to level 6s. Going off, Senjomon is still the main hardliner for the deck, being run in a full playset. And for new backup, we end up getting the Moon Princess herself, Kaguyamon, as backup. Since these two end up forming a pretty formidable pair when you have both of them on board. Since Senjomon is your main beat stick, being able to overclock and being able to spawn out a token on Digivolve, and as long as she survives, spawns them out at the start of your own turn, with the on attack also landing a hefty DP reduction. Then we end up going over Kaguyamon, which ends up being quite useful as she grants every token in Puppetry Digimon on board with Alliance and Blocker globally, thus allowing you to swing on very heavy hits as you stack on another security check, as well as being able to guard with any puppet or token that you leave on board, which then also cycles into its other effect with the alterns to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level on board whenever it sees any of your other Digimon being deleted. As well, at the end of your own turn, you're able to also spawn back a level 4 lower puppet trait from trash while paying the cost, thus feeding into Overclock, since you get to spawn back out a body and for Overclock to make use of. And then Kage will see that and will proceed to pop lowest level on the opponent's side. Well, going for other tech options, obviously one level 6 I still definitely hold in high regard is definitely Cherubimon Ace, as an interaction piece on the opponent's turn, since you're able to bring him out, spawn out a Digimon from hand, and reduce a opposing Digimon by 4,000 for each Digimon on your side, thus allowing you to, take something out, as well as hitting hard with the Alliance body. Aside from that, another level 6, we continue up with the new iteration of the Shumon line, BT22, as we're also getting a new Senjomon in the set, which in all intents and purposes is pretty much a EX7 light in all opinion, since, for her on Digivolve, she'll be still spawning out a token, but also being a overclock body, though now she also has the Alterns effect to also spawn out a token whenever she sees one of your other Digimon becomes deleted, thus producing tokens on both turns depending on board state. That's it for level 6s, and before continuing on, I don't actually run any level 7s in this deck, though for options, obviously, there's still good old BT17 Shine Gray as a means to, pretty much spawn out Teo Tamer and then dish out reductions on one target based on the number of Tamers that you have available as another interaction piece in the game. As well, depending on how many Tamers you have, you also can go pretty hard for face, as you get to suspend down any existing Tamers on board to then add on an extra security check. Though, as another highlight of BT22 support, there's also the new, level 7 for the Puppet Trade deck, that being Nyabutmon, who, as the name suggests and look suggests, is based on Puss in Boots, so going full circle with the emphasis on Shu and Fairy Tale as the new high end. And Nyabutmon is also starting is one of the new starting trends of new level 7 Liberators, Since Boot can also Digivolve over a Chiperomon as long as you have a Arissa on board for 6 costs, instead of its normal 4, is also an overclock body. And on Digivolve, gets to cheat out a puppet trait, a level 4 lower puppet trait from hand, and hits opposing Digimon with minus 2000 DP for each of your other Digimon on board. And has the alternate effect whenever it sees one of your other Digimon getting deleted, it gets to activate its one Digivolving effect again. Though, in all opinion, I'd say Nyabumon is, well, pretty much more so a closer on all else. Since you get to clear board and be able to ensure you get to swing in. Though, in hindsight, with how the new stuff, well, the EX9 stuff that we got, you definitely becomes a matter of choosing what you'd want to get rid of, since you do have to think about Kaguya's global buff or the spawning ability of Senjulmon, specifically X7. Though I do see where Boot comes from, since you're able to be a bit more toolboxy with the level 4 that you with the level 4 lowers that you spit out with this effect. Well, that's it for Digimon lineup. Now on to Tamers. And well, for me, ends up being a pretty much wide split, since it's between 3 copies of Strategy Deck 19 Ursa as the memory setter, 2 copies of EX7 Ursa for passive memory gain, and also being able to spawn out puppets from hand, and then 2 copies of Promo Ursa to be able to cheat out a Shumon, and being able to gain back memory every time you Digivolve into a puppet. With this definitely being more catered towards a more toolboxy / aggro build, since, well, the memory setter Orisa is able to grant rush to any puppet or token that you play out by effect. Then regular Orisa, extend Orisa being able to spit back out, and promo Orisa for, as the already stated reasoning. Then, as for tech option for the deck, again, because of EX9, you can bring out the, Davis equivalent for the deck in Orisa's sister, Mirai Kinosaki, who's able to, search top 3 for a puppet, and then in response to any of your puppets digivolving into a puppet, you're able to bot deck her to then cheat out a Orisa at a reduced cost of 3, or bring out any puppet at a reduced cost of 3, thus playing into a new use for this, as well as a little bit of deck recursion as she gets to return to the deck. Though, given the nature of BT22, we're also getting another Orisa in this set, as pretty much the 3 cost, pretty much the equivalent of BT21 Shoto, being able to, turn itself, also being able to return herself from the field at the start of your main phase to either cheat out another Orisa or bring out a Shumon if you don't have it, if your board is empty, as well as having the alternative effect whenever your other tokens or whenever one of your tokens or puppetry Digimon get played out, you're able to spend her down to draw 1, which ends up being another resource gain, given that she's able to, again, it works similarly to Promo Orisa, as you get to draw a resource in response to, get to gain a resource whenever your puppets digivolve. Well, that's it for the tamer side. Now on to options, which for me ends up being a full lot of utility resources at a full playset of physical training, and then a 2-2 split between Yellow Scramble and Yellow Mem Boost. Obviously, goes without saying, physical training for for the minimum digging, as well as setting aside a reduced evolution cost. Yellow Scramble for tempo climbing, as well as being able to recur any pieces. And then Yellow Mem Boost for, again, a deeper dig, as well as being memory set aside. Then for tech options, definitely Vortex Resonance for Liberator side, though we're also getting a new option in the form of a new series of options called Unique Emblems. In this case, Unique Emblem Fable Waltz for puppets, with its main effect allowing you to play out a Shumon or Orisa for free from hand or trash, and has the your turn's effect. Whenever it sees Orisa suspend, it gets to trigger its own delay to, allow one of your puppets to digivolve up at a reduced cost of 3, thus playing into quite a few more tempo plays. That's it for the deck. Now on to combos. For the mulligan hand, it goes without saying that you'd want to see at least 2 rookies in hand, 1 to set up in the back, and 1 to play out, depending on which one, specifically Structure Deck Shoe for the search in the opening turns. Then seeing either Shushu to set up your upcoming turns with, honestly, seeing EX9 Shushu as a means to set up Orisa's, to cheat out Orisa's onto board is a good way to establish, to start making your board. Second promo Shushu definitely can be one you could have holstered in hand, but don't necessarily need to worry about seeing it as much, since you also can cheat it out from when it gets checked in security. And then, going from there, obviously, pairing with EX9 Shoe is seeing your Orisas in hand to establish them out, and then start using your board. And from there, your digging options to then establish resources later. Then, for second priority, out of your level 5s, definitely try to find Karakuru as going from second turn onwards, since once you pair it, especially digivolving over the second promo Shushu, you're able to start your tempo climbing. And then from there, our priority for level 6s, I'm definitely in the party that says try to establish Sendril as early as possible, since she'll be pretty much your main beatstick and resource spawner, with the tokens coming out every main phase. And from there, Kaguya, once you start building up a secondary stack, going into Kaguya to pretty much castle up, really, as you pretty much go pretty wide as you spawn multiple tokens, or be able to recur, resources from the trash. Then from there, it's pretty much the rest, with Yellow Scrambled being somewhere in the middle as utility. And well, going into combos themselves, pretty much going in, well, building up from raising, pretty much goes without saying, as the standard use of EX7 Shoe, being able to go into either shoes at the reduced cost of 1. Definitely with EX7 Shoe to cheat out your Orissas to establish some board. Or for second promo Shushu to start token shenanigans with a disposal token off the bat. Then it's just building the stack from there. Or either going further wide and establishing overclock, or with Karakuru once you see a level 6 in hand to go into. Since Karakuru will then, well, definitely preferably with second promo Shushu, to pretty much pop the token away and immediately Digivolve, help tempo up into either level 4s. Level 6s, I mean, of Central or Kaguya. And thus you start building your strengthened board from there, as you pretty much control and pretty much beat down the opponent. Since, again, Central will constantly be spawning out tokens, and Kaguya being able to spawn out any level 4 or lower Digimon that's sitting in trash, with a number of them pretty much having on-play effects. And that includes even more shenanigans involving second promo Shushu, since you then go even wider with another token that'll blow itself up at the end of the opponent's turn, which on an established board is pretty much just fodder for Senjo's overclock regardless, or becomes another disposable blocker because of Kaguya's global keyword granting. Well, in all honesty, the deck still functions as it should be, since you now have further means to castle up on an established board, as you constantly have means to go pre-aggro, since once again, the Memory Star Orisa grants any Digimon you play out by effect with Rush, allowing to make them predisposable as soon as they come out, once per turn. And well, that's pretty much it for my look at the Puppet deck in the EX9 format. And well, for a little bit of tidbit, going into VG22, definitely Fable Waltz is seeing inclusion, especially when we have Promo Orisa in play as something to make use of, since, well, it follows in the same vein as the Mirai into Promo Orisa combo, since you cheat out Orisa and get to cheat out a shoe from hand for free. Though, with it being an opening move, well, with Fabled Waltz as the opening move of the game, you practically get a lot of resources off the bend, since Fabled Waltz, cheat out Promo Orisa, and then pretty much cheat out Searching Shoe off that for a very strong searching turn, since you practically establish a passive memory gain through evolving, and then a search off the bat. And well, yeah, about covers it for the puppet deck. Well, closing thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this around to, well, keep up with what I'm be doing. And this is Sarja signing off.